Welcome to the second World Feeder Championships here in Ghent in Belgium. My name's Jason Greatrex from Champions Team DE and I'm joined by Ricky Teal from Matrix.
With this year there's 22 teams competing in the championships. We're going to bring you all the action, bring you the results and show you a bit about the tactics and methods used on this particular venue.
I know the venue for a couple of years because there have been several World Championships here, but I never participated because some was for under 18, under 23, the other for the veterans, you know, and I'm somewhere in between. But as we collected the information, we were ready to fish for bream, big bream. Not so many of them in the water, I can tell you. But the fishing is quite similar as it was in the past, except we don't use float but feeder. And we have to fish very fine and we have to work together with the water, which is not so easy because the fishing is a bit different that we do at home.
Yeah. What can you tell us about the structure of the venue, the width, the depth and the structure of the ground is?
Yeah, it's about 80 meters wide, which is a surprise for everybody who think about rowing course because they are normally 200 meter wide, you know. There are no international events here because of this fact, no international rowing events because of this fact that it's too narrow. The depth is also not so deep. We are used to this fact that by the kayak canoe rules there is a minimum depth of 3 meters. It's far from 3 meters now, 2.2, 2.5 maximum somewhere. And quite flat. The middle is much more muddy than the sides, maybe for current reasons when the wind comes. The bank is quite okay and we have some weed in the first 3-4 meters where we lost some proper fish in the last few days, so we have to be very careful at the landing. But that's it. There is no such a current what we found. But if we would fish on a slider float, I think I would have a different opinion.
You say in the middle it's very muddy, but you see most of the anglers here today are fishing in the middle. There's nobody going past the middle. Is that where the bream are?
No, it's because you arrived on the 4th day. If you come earlier, you see many anglers fishing on the other side, catching nothing. So that's the reason why we moved in. Cars are going up and down on both sides. I'm sure that the fish are used to it, but as there are people on the bank, for some reason, they go in the middle and not on the other side. These are not carassios and carp, these are bream, and possibly they like mud. So they are there for sure, and the most bites we had in the middle.
Okay, you're casting to the middle, that's about 35 meters?
Let me say 40.
Okay, maximum 40. So 40. You're not doing any extreme feeder fishing. Everyone can cast to 40 meters on the clip. So everybody here is casting the same distances. Everybody has got similar rigs. What are the main factors? What's going to win gold on this venue?
It's too early to say, and maybe I'm not the right person to tell you because I don't feel that we will win it. To be honest, we try our best, but I think there are 2 teams who are far ahead. You should ask them. They are Dutch and English. But there is a big difference if you cast to 40 meters with the diameter of the line, what you use for casting. There is a big difference if you use a 30-40 gram feeder or a 10-15 gram half OZ feeder, you know. And you still have to cast the same distance. These things are big differences. Not for, how to say, not for somebody who are walking on the bank, but when you want to cast against the wind, half OZ, 40 meters, try it.
Okay, they're using very small cages here,
yes, that's what I saw.
Very small, and so you're casting small weights over. You come here with an Hungarian feeder team. How popular is feeder fishing in Hungary?
More and more popular, and I can tell you this is easily the #1 of any light tackle fishing way in my country. I mean, it's much more popular than any kind of light tackle coarse fishing or ultralight spinning or things like that. Okay, there is the car fishing with boilies and things like that, But if I want to name something as a sport fishing style in Hungary, that would be feeder for sure.
Yeah. So you're here as captain or manager of your team this year. I know you've got world-class World Championship experience. How can you bring that to a feeder team?
We have one or two guys who already fished World and European Championships in coarse fishing, and they have this experience as well. Some of them has already medals, but the only thing what I can bring from my side, I fished on 26 international events like World, European or Club World. I don't talk about the open competitions, but 26 like this. And it has been 26 weeks from Monday to Sunday. And that kind of evolution, what the venue goes through from Monday to Sunday, that is what we can see again. And that is the information what I can get from the past, from the from the Winchester in the folders. You can get it out and use. But concerning feeder fishing, they are much more technical and much more knowledge about it than myself.
Yeah. So you come here on a Monday morning. How do you make a training plan? What's the first factors? What's the first factors you need to find out on the water like this?
The first factor is the sheet, the paper sheet in your hand.
Yeah.
When you see the boxes where you fish, because if it's a rowing canal, but not a normal rowing canal, it has a nice interruption in between A and B section. There is a channel going in and coming in and going out on the other side, and it makes that place extremely good. The organizers already left the best part out, but it's still much better than the inside part of the sections. And when we saw the data sheet, the sheet of the training, then we found that we start on the very end 21 from 22, box 21, and we continue on box 4, which is exactly on the interrupted area, and then 3 times in the middle of the water. So first 2 days we wanted to fish very active, try everything what we bring from home, because hopefully there will be many fish, as it was actually. And then we were almost sure that we will have difficult days, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, as it is. So now we are, as it is Thursday, in the middle of the venue, section C. We try to use what we get from the fishful areas.
Ground bait and bait itself, important factor?
Usage and the way of using the ground bait is much more important than the ground bait itself. That's my opinion, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't feel such a difference what you feel when you go to a roach venue with a black ground and you put in light yellow ground bait, you catch nothing. When you put black, the roach is on. These kind of factors we don't find now. But or sweet or salty or smelly or not, I think it's not so important. The usage of the ground bait, how you throw it in, open the feeder, and how it goes down, I think it's much more important than the ground bait itself. Baits are usual. Chopped worm as a number 1, and caster if you want, some dead maggot, and of course bloodworm.
Bloodworm, joker, important factor?
Joker for the short line, for small fish, some perch and roach, what you can catch in the first hour, because normally the breams are away in the first hour and they come later. So if you want to spend the time useful, you have to catch some small fish, then joker is okay, Lehman joker. But in the middle I wouldn't, and we will not use any joker.
No joker in the ground bait?
No.
And on the hook?
No joker on the hook as well.
I know. Bloodworm, sorry. No bloodworm on the hook?
Joking with the joker. So,
joking with the
bloodworm on the hook, yes. But worm is much more important, in my opinion.
I'm looking around, I've seen bloodworm going onto the hook, and I am a little bit disappointed. Some teams have really bad quality bloodworm. How important is it to have a good bloodworm?
I can tell you that fortunately I don't know how to use how bad it is to use a bad bloodworm. I've seen the local shop and the local distribution. I didn't like it myself as well. We brought for us from Hungary. 1 car arrives tonight for the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the fresh one. We always do it if we can, of course, not every point of the world, but if it's in a reasonable distance, we do it for ourselves, because I think it can be a key point. But if we would fish on the pole or on the waggler, I think it would be much more important. This way with the feeder, I do believe that the best bait is not the bloodworm, but the worm.
But the worm itself?
The worm itself, yeah.
Big worms, small worms?
I've seen English and Dutch catching very well in the last 3 days, years as well, but days, and they use as big as they can find in the pot, and they put on and big, not big bunch, but a big piece of the worm.
Okay, so a big piece of worm. Going back to the ground bait, I've also seen fish meal ground baits and normal, say, European conventional ground baits. Is there a difference?
Now we fish 3 guys with fish meal and 3 guys with the sweet ground baits. At the moment we have 8 fish caught in this part of the session. 8 fish, I talk about the big breams only, not the small skimmers, roach or perch. The 8 breams, you can imagine how they are split, 4-4. So of course we try, we use, but we didn't find a big difference, honestly. But I've seen many green fish meal ground bait with the top teams.
Has he got a bream? No.
Not bream, but something serious fish. I mean, a proper skimmer or a carasio. We had some carasios around, up to 1.5 kilos. Bias! Me?
You get that, Dave?
Big roach.
A big roach.
Hosszú boton.
We've just taken a small break because one of Tamas's guys here have caught a good roach.
Which is unusual on the long line, actually. It is the first in the week I've seen on the whole venue. There are small roach, many of them, close to the weed, grass. But
is this guy on a sweet ground bait or fish meal?
He's on a sweet ground bait.
Sweet man, yeah.
I can't imagine catching a roach on a fish meal ground. A dead roach maybe, but.
Just looking at his rod, he's got quite a light rod, hasn't he? And a small reel. I've seen a lot of teams on here with heavy rods and big reels.
There are 2 styles of fishing, as I see. There is that German way, German Dutch, you know, heavy rigs, big rivers. They are used to big fish, which are fighting on the other side. And there is the English style, very fine rod, very light, tackle, small reel. They don't need so big, I mean, and fishing fine. This is the venue for the second.
For the
second style. I mean, not the German. It's a 1 pound roach. Pretty nice roach. A bit less,
just showing the cameras there. Nice roach. But it's definitely going to be a bream match. It's
for sure. Maybe the last big roach we see during the week.
How many bream do you need to win your section at the moment? Things can still change, but it's Thursday, as I said. We've got 1 more training day.
You mean if the match would be tomorrow? What? Section A, I don't know. It's very hectical. Some days there are many fish over there, 5, 6, 7 fish for everybody. Some days with 1 or 2. But I do believe that over there you have to have 6, 7, 8 fish to win the section for sure, because it's open-ended, and there are 2 end pegs, and I think you need a lot to win. Section B is totally unfair. It's close to the bridge. That part you need minimum 10 or 15 fish to win 20 kilos. So I'm not kidding, it's so much over there. Inside of the section the only chance is to save some points for the team. So you cannot talk about winning a section from the inside the part of section B. C and D are quite even, but the low numbers of C are better. Over there 5, 6 breams to win, in my opinion. Section D is the most difficult, by the way. It's day by day, every day, I mean, the most difficult part. And here maybe 3 or 4 fish is enough. At the moment we are sitting together with Italians, and the most what they have is 3 breams. What we have 2 for 2 guys. So maybe there is the section 1 and here is the 2 and the 3rd. So it's something like that. And section E is new page again.
Yeah.
The end box over there, where the English sit now, actually, is full of fish. We've seen the Swedish over there catching 20 breams a day. So it must be very, very fishful, and I think the end pegs will win easily with 10 or more than 10 fish.
Yeah. So yeah, as you said, England is sitting on the end peg today, where plenty of fish to be had. Whether there's anything to be learnt down there, me and Dave Johnson are going to go down there and talk to the England manager in a minute and see how his session went today. And we'd like to thank you very much, Tamas, for bearing us and putting up with us.
You are more than welcome, like usual.
Thanks very much.
How many days have you actually been out here, Tom?
Well, on this trip we've been 4, but of course we've been before for 4 more, and we had the Friendly International in April, so we've done a lot of work on the venue. So, but the actual official training, it's 4th day.
Okay, has much actually changed since April?
Yeah, it's changed quite a bit, to be honest with you. Obviously temperatures are different, it's warmer, and I think there's a few more fish feeding, but it's a fantastic venue, lots of fish in it. Just hope we get it right on weekend, you know. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, obviously you had really fantastic success back in April, but obviously that was, you know, a few months ago now, and like you said, things have changed.
Well, it has, and I just hope we aren't giving other teams a little bit of a you know, a little bit of a secret into what it's about, because I mean we just turned up, fished how we thought, and we did really well, first and second team, and maybe we'll get a few things away, but you know, we don't know that till you fish. It's like we found some things out this week, we won't know all Saturday morning whether they work or not. So, and other teams think same. It's, you know, that's what it's about really. But I think we've had a good practice. I'm really happy.
Okay, I mean, well, like we just said, I mean, it's been day 4 of it's Thursday now. Actually, obviously the event is Saturday and Sunday. Have you seen many patterns emerging? Have you, as a you know, a plan being formulating itself, as it were?
Well, yeah, we've got a plan. We're not doing everything. We've got a bit of a plan, and like I said, you never know till the day. You really don't know. I mean, the trouble is when you get 6 of the same angler all fishing in a group, and you're all putting similar ground baits in, you never know till you get either side. You get the continentals either side of you, and then the ground baits will come through. Is yours working? Is yours not? And you, like I say, you won't know all Saturday morning.
There were a few press releases back after your obviously success back in April about one of them was the ground bait that you actually decided to use. Have you, you know, managed to keep it a little bit under wraps since then, or has it changed?
Well, no, on Saturday. Well, it has changed certainly, but we've tried to keep it under wraps as much as we can. But I don't know. We'll know on Saturday. But we've got another mix as well, so we've got a couple of mixes up our sleeve. Well, so we'll just have to wait and see. But like I said, you never know. I mean, the continentals, I mean, it's one of the reasons why we've been out so much. Is it's a different climate, different species. You know, everything's different. So we've had to come out and put the work in. You know, and get people up to speed, and they have done. To be fair, done really well. Really proud of them. Yeah, really chuffed.
Well, from what we've seen today, we've obviously seen quite a number of small fish caught, small silverfish. We've obviously seen some bream caught as well. Are you able to say what sort of a percentage split you're looking at?
No, I can't. You can't really, because there's little areas with more bream than others. There's some areas with Carasio, and there's some areas with roach, and there's better areas than others. And it's just a case of hoping we get into more breamy areas, and if not, we might have to fish for something else. But there's little areas where there's definitely pockets of bream. There's no doubt about that.
Okay. Well, obviously there's one more practice day. That's the final training session tomorrow. Are there still things you want to try tomorrow, or are you pretty confident in what you've got so far? I'm
pretty happy, to be fair. There'll be a couple of things we're just going to try tomorrow, but we won't be trying a lot tomorrow. We'll just be getting more ready for the day after. We won't be doing too much tomorrow. Anybody watching us won't pick out up tomorrow, trust me.
Right, okay then. We will be watching.
Yeah.
Do you want to come over here again?
Well, no point in me standing
No,
there.
there isn't, is there? He's getting funny now. Get on that side. Move over a little bit.
What
That
way?
way. Keep going, keep going,
No.
keep going. Okay. Okay. Good morning, Jan.
Morning.
Good morning, Jan. You once said to me, I think 2 or 3 years ago, there are many roads to Rome. Concerning tactics. I've seen here the last 2 days, I've seen the bloodworm approach and I've seen the worm approach. How many roads do you see here?
Several different ones, as usual. There's never just one thing that is all dominating. We're fishing for bream. Not that many fish around when you look at it, although there still be some good weights. Different baits will play a role. Bloodworm, earthworms, like always, the usual bream baits really, casters, a few dead maggots maybe even. And it's not going to be only fishing for bream. I think there's going to be some very valuable points to be won with small fish.
You think maybe in the first hour on the short line, saying 18 metres, 20 metres out?
Around about that distance, yes.
Yeah.
That's where roach and perch are being caught, and even odd bream sometimes. But that would be a bonus. But like I said, the small fish, a couple of grams difference can play a big role in a team event, obviously. Can be the difference between medals and failing, or winning and second or third place.
Yeah. Going back to saying the many roads of Rome with the worm approach, your guys going more for the worm as the bloodworm?
No, we have an open mind. All week long there's a couple of methods we think play a role, and we have tested and are still testing them all. Bait-wise, distance-wise, many different things. As you have seen already, it's not just one thing and sticking to it.
But I think a lot of teams are a bit worried and haven't sussed it yet.
It's always like this, but when have you sussed it?
Yeah.
It's all on the result, and every fish caught here until now doesn't count, does it?
Yeah.
It's just good for confidence. I think you're right. I think the English so far have been outstanding. Don't forget we fished a 2-day match here in April, which I think was very similar, and the English won and came second with another team. Yes, they'll be the people to beat, I agree with you. But there'll be other ones. The ones behind us here, to our right at the moment, the Italians. I've been very, very impressed with the Italians this week. I think they were last year. They won't be last this time. Well, it may sound strange, but when you think about it, it's not that strange. Feeder fishing at international level is only the second time that there is an international proper championship, the second World Championship. This will develop in the next couple of years like you won't believe. Yeah. Of course there are some nations like Germany, like ourselves, England of course, where this type of fishing stems from, and some others that are maybe a little bit ahead because they simply have a longer history with it. But you wait and see in the next couple of years. This will be developing so quickly and so much. Yeah. Already now. Well, I wasn't there last year because all the championships were at the same time, and I was at the float fishing championship last year. But in my opinion, it will already be a different world to last year. When you compare it with, let's say, the other types of fishing we have, float fishing, everybody's got similar floats, everybody's got similar rigs. Still, it's not on that only, it's on the method always, the tactics of how to catch these fish, depending on which fish they are and depending on the conditions, let's say. When there's current it's different than when it's a still water, depth, all these sort of things. It all is on the species that are catchable and on the type of venue, as always really. This is our sport.
They say on the continent, we are on the continent, and continent is more known for Dutch style feeder, but I think you'll agree everyone's scaling down here and going to more English feeder fishing methods. Even the Dutch team, they've all scaled down here. What sort of equipment do you need here on this venue?
Fairly light tackle. You said it yourself. You're not throwing massive distances, so there's no need for big stiff rods, for instance, and probably we've had more to adapt than a team like the English, because I think, knowing their venues and knowing their type of waters, I think they just use the same stuff what they use at home non-stop. Yeah. And for us it's slightly lighter than what we're used to. You wouldn't use these kind of rods in our big rivers when you have to cast a mile.
Yeah. Dirk, how's the session been up to now?
Pretty worthless, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very hard fishing at the moment. It's not that you get any liners. The bream are just not here anymore.
Yeah.
I think they moved towards the corner and towards the other corner on the rowing course in Ghent.
Yeah. I think down in the German box they've maybe had one bream each. I think here in the Dutch box you've had 2 or 3 bream between yours.
Yeah, we have 3 bream now, I believe.
3 bream, and down the Italians on the next box we've not seen any bream there. So you're looking at 8, 9, 10 bream in the first 3 hours between 18 anglers.
Exactly, that's how difficult it is at the
Yeah.
moment.
Tell us how your week's been. How's the week been here?
Well, we have gone forward on sessions before this week, and on the Monday we had a training quite at the far end to the right on the rowing course, and we caught about 30 bream in the Dutch team. That repeated itself on the Tuesday, coming a little bit to the left. On the Wednesday, again 30 plus bream. Yesterday we were in a better box, box 5, that's just where the channel runs in. We had 58 bream, so that shows also that that box is definitely better. And we're quite hopeful for this box today,
Yeah.
because there have been bream caught here, but earlier in the week, and now they just completely disappeared.
I was going to say they must be completely gone. Everyone's saying doesn't matter where the Dutch sit, they catch the bream. But
If they're there.
if they're there, that's right. Tell us about the rods and the reels. You've scaled right down. This is not your typical Dutch fishing, feeder fishing, is it?
No, it isn't. We have to scale down because the distances are quite short.
Yeah.
And what you don't want at the rowing course to lose a fish. Was pretty much the bream fishing, even though you are catching 15 or 20 kilos, you're talking 15 fish in 5 hours,
Yeah.
which is not too much. So you fish for each fish individually, and then the next and the next if possible. So you want to be sure you're not losing any fish. That's why we scale down quite a bit. We still like to see all the small bites, so we're still fishing with Dynama.
Yeah.
But our shock leaders, we have them up 15 to 20 meters, just to give that little bit of extra stretch,
Yeah.
to make sure you're catching every fish you hook. There's one fish more or less, like today, is going to be very, very important.
And what's the diameters of your lines you're using? Your hook lengths?
The main line is Dynama 600ths of
Yeah.
a mil.
How many?
600ths
Yeah.
of a mil.
Yeah.
It's more or less the thinnest almost you can
It's
get.
0.06 millimeter diameter main line.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the shock leaders are 20 of a mil.
Yeah.
So that's in English 5 pound.
Yeah. And then your hook lengths.
Hook lengths vary. For the small fish, to get no zero, we are using the minimum that's required, 50 centimeters,
Yeah.
just to be more direct.
Yeah.
And on the bream fishery, it's about 80 centimeters.
Yeah. And looking at the cages you're using, everyone's scaled right down. You're using very small cages, 10, 15 gram cages, cage feeders.
As light as you can get them at the moment, because the bottom here we have been swimming is so soft.
Yeah.
It's like, milk with some flour in it.
Yeah.
And it's a layer of in the middle of about a half a meter. So everything that's too heavy just goes in.
Because it sinks, yeah. I see you've got a cage here. Is it okay if I take that and just show the camera?
Yeah, sure.
You're looking very small cage feeders. This is 20 grams, so that's quite a heavy one that we're using here. Yeah, oh, that's great. Let's just have a little small selection. These are thumb-sized feeders they're using here. Again, 20 grams, but then there's the lighter ones. Again, it's got 10 grams maximal. And you've got your Drennan closed feeders, 1 ounce. And this is, so how many of these would you put in at the beginning of a session?
5.
5 of these.
Yeah, I had a session this week where I put up 61 meters.
Yeah.
I put 4 of those small ones in. Didn't touch it for an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Got to that line, caught 4 bream in a row.
Yeah.
So they really don't need much over here. If there is something, they'll keep sticking around.
And it's very important as well, when you catch a bream, that you don't scare them away by the next cast, isn't it? So that's why small feeders.
Exactly, so your setup is a variation of sizes in feeders.
Yeah.
When they are there, that's the difficulty, because when they are there, you need to bring chum. You can't say, okay, I'm just fishing with a very small one like this one only, because then you definitely won't get another bite. So you need to chum them, but you also have to fish for each bream individually. So that means there's this fine balance between bringing the bait in, keeping them interested, but don't overfeed them so you won't get that final bite.
Yeah. So it is actually going to be a very tactical match, isn't it?
It is going to be a tactical match, yes. And I also believe that the best team who has it tactically right, isn't losing fish, is going to win this World Championships. Unless the whole stretch turns like it is today over here, which I might not hope, because then you get a match with lucky shots.
Yeah.
And that would be a shame.
And you're introducing, as you said, 5 cages at the beginning, small size cage feeders filled with feed. What baits are you putting in there? Are you putting a lot of bait in there? Or?
Yeah, the first 5 are quite full.
Yeah.
Because it's not much, so there must be something around for them to stick around,
Yeah.
And then as you're exploring other lines, you want to make sure if you get to a line after an hour or even 2 hours maybe, that if there is fish, that there is enough for them to cruise around and stay on that spot.
Yeah. And so you overfeed a swim. How does that put the fish off then?
Because then they get too preoccupied. See, every fish that is swimming here has been probably hooked already once or twice in their life. And on top of it, on the rowing course, there are 3-4 tournaments every week, plus a lot of angles who go free fishing. So they're being fed every day, after day, after day, after day. So in principle, it's like we are at a Chinese restaurant, and we ate a lot in the beginning, and then you're filled up. But you still like the taste of something that looks good, that's still on the table. And it's like that over here with the bream as well. Some rubbish.
How often are you casting out? Are you leaving it? How long before you would say, no, that's not bringing me anything?
15-20 minutes.
15-20 minutes.
Yeah.
And anything sorry?
Roughly forecast an hour.
Yeah. Is there anything you can do in between to entice a bite?
Yeah, well, what you try to do is put a lot of larvae in a cage, and pull it out halfway in the water, so you get this dust cloud of leam and larvae in it.
Yeah.
That might entice a bream that is hovering around your spot.
Yeah. Going back to the ground baits, you see a lot of teams here, they're using the conventional European ground baits, I say, your normal out the bag, and some of the teams are using fish meal.
Yeah.
But at the moment, the people I've talked to, nobody could really say one's working or not. What ground bait do you tend to think going to win it here? Or
I think the fish meal is going to win it here.
Meal? Is it that far in Belgium that the fish have turned to fish meal?
If they like it, it goes quite quickly.
Yeah.
What's also important is that it's being chummed. If there are a lot of carp fishermen around, they tend to use those kind of products, and the fish is quite quickly tuning in on it.
Yeah.
I would say on the mainland, if you got a water depth that's under 2 meters, it works. It hasn't shown on the mainland that if the water is over 2 meters that it actually works. Probably because of the enormous fine structure. So it gets lost too much.
Yeah. To the distances that everyone's casting here, everybody is stuck to the same distances, either out there at about 35, 36, 37 meters. A few people on 18 to 20 meters. How do you come to these distances? How do you decide, okay, we're going to fish 36 meters?
Well, first you get some information, obviously, from people in Belgium that fish the rowing course, that give you indicative lines and distances to fish, and then the rest is a lot of practice. So when we are out with the team, we are just trying all the distances. And what we have seen over here, that on the short range from 10 to 15 meters, it's pretty much a small fish line, which once in a while, occasionally a bream. Further out, you get the bream. And just recently, because it's so crowded on the rowing course, you also see that on the pole line on the opposite shoreline, you can catch some bream. It's exactly 75.5 meters wide. So that's mathematical, with your tip sitting a couple of meters in front of you. So actually you measure it out, you cast out, see if your spot is visible, and that gives you another option.
But fishing at 70 meters or say 65 meters with this light equipment, is that possible?
No, we have to swap to the heavier gear.
Yeah. And you think that could bring you one bream?
Well, that's what you try to do with the World Championships, so you don't want to put your money on one card. So what you're doing during the week also is finding the alternatives, because there's no way if 5 people of a team over a period of 2 days are fishing just one line, because they won't all have good spots. There are hard spots like this. I caught a bream today, which just brings you up in the section. But let's say you don't get any bite, then you have 2 possibilities. You either sit on it for 5 hours straight, but if the bite doesn't come, you get loss of point for your team, and that's not what you want. And you see with the Italians next to us that there are small fish to be caught. So if you do that very well as an alternative, you might save 10 penalty points, maybe 5 or 8 penalty points for your team, which can make the difference between the gold medal or no medal.
Maybe a bream is about 1 kilo if you're just catching one bream, but it could be possible that you could catch up to 1 kilo in small fish.
Well, the bream average are a little bit bigger. Yesterday I caught 5 and weighed in at 7.74 kilos.
Okay, so you're looking over a 1.5 kilo per fish.
Yes. There are some smaller ones, but in the average you can say, okay, 13 to 1500 grams. And that's a lot of small fish. We have tried it, complete sessions of 5 hours, and we got up to max 2 kilograms. So we know what you can catch on the small fish. And then it has to go a little bit quicker, actually, even than what we see today.
Maybe a good way to start tomorrow will be maybe an hour on the short line for small fish, build up, say, a safety bag, and then go for the fish that are needed here.
Well, that's the difficulty, because most larger fish are either caught at the beginning, in the first hour, and in the last 1.5 hour. So you might lose a chance if you go for small fish for an hour.
You're looking at your rod and your line. You've got about an 80 degree angle there. You see some guys here have got their rod almost pointing straight ahead. You've got some guys What difference does it make? Bite indication. How will you see the bites better?
I think you see them in both cases equally as good. I think it has more to do with what you're accustomed to. And if you're fishing nylon or Dynama without stretch, if you get more nylon with a lot of stretch in it, you want to have a longer swing when you get a bite. So I think it has a lot to do with personal preference.
I was hoping by now that you'd actually catch a fish for us, that maybe we could talk about how to play big bream here on these venues. Do you tend to keep your rod low when playing a big fish, or do you bring it up, or does it depend on the venue?
No, I keep it low, because typically then your fish stays low in the water as well. You don't want him 20-30 meters out and being on the surface, because then it gets harder to play. So the idea is to get a feel for it, so when the bream comes towards you, it keeps swimming, so you just keep reeling in up till it's quite close, then you lift your rod. It might take a couple of runs.
Yeah.
When you do that, you have to feel actually in the rod when halfway in, the bream all of a sudden doesn't like to swim, come straight towards you anymore, so it takes an angle. That's the moment you stop reeling and just give him some play.
Yeah.
And then you repeat that little game until it's on the shoreline. So actually I'm lifting my rod just at the final moment.
To bring the fish out of the water then.
Exactly.
So you're saying that they don't fight as much as when you keep your rod low. They come along the water, they come with you, and I suppose they've got a natural instinct. They don't want to go up, do they?
No, exactly. But that happens if your rod is lifted that high.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So keeping the rod low, you've got an easier fight on your hands.
Yes, much easier.
Yeah.
And the idea is to get some speed in it for bream fishing. The idea is that when it comes towards you, keep reeling it in, and it will just keep swimming towards you.
Yeah. And as you say, the most dangerous points of losing a fish would be where they don't want to come swimming in anymore, and that's where you have to ease off.
Exactly, that's when they come, when you lift the rod and they take a couple of last runs, and that's the tricky moment, obviously. Hence the stretch in the leader.
Yeah.
It gives you that little bit extra. It's also important not to get them too close to your tip, and to have some line left to give when it takes this last couple of runs.
Yeah. Dirk, we see you using quite similar rigs to Italy last year. I imagine because in Italy last year it was a snaggy bottom, so this year a silty bottom. Yeah, keeping the line out of the silt, or is this now like for all your feeder fishing this little small sidearm?
Unless there is current water, where we use a completely different system, we pretty much in Holland always use a fixed system. So this piece of running line that we created for complying with the rules of the SIPs is actually mimicking what we normally do. Because normally this would be a knot with a piece of line.
That's right.
Because it gives this direct. The only thing that we have changed since Italy, when we had this coarse last year, twisted to make it stiff, we now have a little section of single line, 28/100ths of a millimeter, actually.
That's not part of your shock leader then?
No, it's not actually.
Okay, that's an extra piece of line.
So your shock leader comes in here, and then there is this stiff piece of nylon behind it that replaces the twisted part for the carp in Italy.
Yeah.
Because that twisted part can move a little bit, gives you an extra stretch, which isn't necessary for bream fishing. Bullet cage on it, so if the wind picks up all of a sudden, because we had this weather the whole week, where wind would pick up and then it would calm down again. So if it picks up with a little rain shower, a little 20-gram bullet feeder to make sure you get straight to your feeding spot.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, let's have a cast out.
Yeah. Won't catch any fish on the dry land, eh?
Size hooks you're using there?
This is a 16.
Yeah.
Kamazan hook.
Kamazan 560?
Yeah.
Yeah. The B560, which is also my favourite feeder hook for bream fishing.
Yeah, the good thing about these hooks is when you hardly ever lose a bream on it.
Yeah. And they're quite strong hooks as well.
Exactly. Pole was my marker.
The pole?
On the opposite shoreline.
The lamp post?
Yeah, exactly.
You only just said that because that's where you hit.
It's the most obvious marker, I guess.
Yeah. You cast it out now. Your line's still on the water. You're not worried about sinking that line now. You let it sink from its alone.
Yeah, it's Dyneema is a floating line in principle.
Yeah.
When they say it's a sinking line, it's just because they coated it. But actually, a new Dyneema line isn't that good. You want an old Dyneema line where the coating is worn off.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it starts floating. And then we fished it obviously the whole week, which is picking up grease from the water, and so at the end of the day we will be degreasing all our lines so it sinks quicker.
Giving it some washing up liquid onto the line.
Detergent, yes, and all you cast out and wheel it in through a cloth with dishwashing detergent.
I must say, old line is better for sinking, but you've got the risks of using old line in a championship, which is not a good move.
Well, let's say old for me is when it's used about 20-25 times.
Yeah.
Not like it's 6 years old.
Okay.
But then what happens is your Dyneema starts stretching because of the use, and as it are all fine little fibers, sometimes up to 60 that are woven into each other, it's kind of loose when you buy it new. So when you've cast it out and used it a lot, it starts to stretch together and gets very dense, which is better for the sinking and everything.
Well, I was going to sit here until you catch a fish, but I'm going to leave you on your own now.
Yeah, well, we don't know who's the reserve in our team. We'll hear tonight, but hopefully I'm catching some more fish if I'm fishing Saturday, Sunday.
So really, you are competing today to be in the team, aren't you?
Yeah, if Jan doesn't know by now yet.
Okay, yeah, good. Well, Dirk, thanks very much for an insight. This is something not all top teams would let us do. Was that a bite?
Yeah, but a tiny one, so small fish probably. Little perch.
Okay, as I said, as soon as we turn the cameras off, I imagine you'll catch one.
That's the funny thing with the bream bites over here. They're all unmissable.
Okay.
They just go.
As I said, thanks very much for giving us a look into bream fishing on a hard venue, and we wish you all the best for the next couple of days, Dirk.
Thanks very much. Take care.
And your free DVD will be in the post as soon as it's finished.
Perfect. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Dirk.
Bye.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Peter van der Wilk, and I'm will explain where we're fishing here in Belgium. We use a green method mix with fish meal, and it's very hard and about 30% brown clear water to make it some dark, and it's a good working mix for the feeder. For short fishing we use another one, and this is thin special feeder. It's for smaller fish and birds, everything, and there's no fish meal in it, and that's just made for short and smaller fish. It keeps a long time fish on it, and when you're fishing far, you can go back and very fast have a bait with this one. And this is special mixed for bigger fish with fish meal, for bream. This one with the green mix, we mix it with clear water. It's I developed a few years ago for Peter van der Wilk, clear water, and it's very good to mix about 30% in the mix. It makes it a little bit more working and get you faster the fish on the ground bait. That's where we fish. Fairport delivered this, and it's a very good mix.
on, kid. Let's have one. Got loads of room there, mate.
Dean's just struck into his second fish. We're nearly 3/4 of an hour into the session. The Dutchman next to him, Peter, has not caught yet. The Hungarian on 14 has had 2. The Frenchman on 13 has just had a small one, small bream. And we believe the Swede on D5 has also had a good bream, as far as we can see.
Super gut.
Very good.
Three and a half hours into the match, all you can see is bank runners, coaches running around like mad. England and Holland are not dominating this match, that's clear. And Tamas, tell us how Hungary are doing.
Much better than we expected. We have in the section A a top 5 result, something like 3, 4, 5. In section B we are in top 3. In my opinion, we are leading the section. Section C we are in trouble, but not so deep trouble, because there are only 9 anglers with bream, and with the number of the small fish we are the best. So between 10 and 12 we should be somewhere. In section D we are in top 5 again with 3 breams, and in section E we are in the first position, as I know, with 5 breams already. So after 3.5 hours we are waiting for a thunderstorm to stop the match immediately. But it's much better than I expected, and at the moment in the nations total must be top 3.
Okay, as you say, not many fish coming out.
No, much less than I expected, and that makes a difference, because we had a tactic for the small fish what we use in the first 1 hour, but it's the end of the 3rd hour. We are in the middle of the 4th hour. I mean,
3.5 hours.
3.5 hours, and 3 of us are still fishing very good, with very good result on the small fish on the short line. So it helps us a lot.
What's going to be most important factor in the last hour and a half?
We have to be very careful with those anglers who still have nothing and catch 1 or 2 breams. We must not panic because of it. Because if we change our tactic and go in the bream because our neighbor had one, okay, we have to, because it's in the area. But if in the other corner of the section we see a bream, we don't have to do anything, I think. Continue the small fish. Because if somebody has 500 grams now, we have 3 kilos. 1 bream doesn't make a difference. So we have to be much more patient that we can.
Well, I know you're itching to get down to your angler now. Yeah. Thanks very much. Carry on. Good work. As I said, we're still into the last 1.5 hours, and there's a lot of trainers who won't even stop to talk to me. They're so busy. I know you're looking at your watch there, Jan. Tell us how it's going at Holland.
Not good enough.
Not good enough?
No. It's not going disastrous, but simply not good enough. If you want to win this, you have to be amongst the first at the moment, but it can change very quickly with 1 or 2 fish here and there. But at the moment it is like saving the situation a little bit, and then hopefully a better day tomorrow. I can't see us having less than 35 points in total, and 35 points will put you normally 6th, 7th or something like this. Yeah. And England is actually doing very well. I hear they've got one bad result. Well, I hope the best for everybody, but to give anybody else a chance, it needs to stay like that.
It looks like the Hungarians are not doing too bad either.
No, Hungary's doing okay. I've seen 3 South Africans doing quite well, so I don't know. I haven't got a full picture. I'm just looking at our own team and looking at the points, and experience tell me where that will put us. It'll never be far off.
And the most deciding 1.5 hours left. It's going to be very busy.
Exactly. The main time in the competition is coming up now, and 2 or 3 fish can change everything overnight. But it's not looking good, I'll be honest.
Okay, Jan, well, hope the next hour and a half pick up for you. Do you want to push?
So do I.
Oh, that's a shame. That's his first bream in 5 hours.
Oh, is it?
Oh, was it?
Dus wat voor hier is allemaal zo.
Again, Phil, your first international on a world championship and your first section win. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I've had an absolutely amazing day.
Yeah.
What an experience just to be here for a start. And I've been lucky enough. I've had 8 bream for 9 kilo 150 and a dream day.
Yeah. Yes. You tell us how your session went.
I put a few feederfuls in at the start. We didn't want to go overboard, but give them a little bit of an appetiser. I just went steady as we go, steady as we go. I had my first bream on about an hour and a quarter. Just settled the old art down and got me going. and then I got to, I think, 3 bream with about 2 hours to go, and my dad said to me, if you get 5, I think you'll win this bit. And I had 3 fish and 3 chucks, and then 2 more in the last 35 minutes, and then I had a bite, final chuck in, and I got about 10 seconds to go, and I reeled and didn't quite make it.
Yes. You started the session obviously to England tactics. Did you follow the tactics? Did they work today?
I think they worked and they didn't work. We might have been a little bit positive today. It hasn't fished very well. It's been well documented. We've had a very good practice session. We've done really, really well, sorted a few things out, maybe caught a few too many fish, and just refined it, and I think we'll be spot on tomorrow.
Yeah, we're getting a bit of feedback now that you haven't done too bad actually.
No, I thought we'd have. We've had one of the lads who struggled, has been in a really bad area, but some of the other lads have done fantastically well. So I think it's balanced out. I think Hungary are probably in front, but I mean, you know, we'll have a real go tomorrow.
It's not a 2-horse race like everyone thought yesterday. England, Holland. Holland not done too well today.
No, I think Belgium have obviously fished it a lot. It's their home water. I personally believe they haven't done anything in practice. They haven't really fished. They knew what they were doing. Rumour has it they haven't fed anything today. Just fished it very negative. The Dutch have done okay, but not mega like ourselves. And Hungary, who caught a few fish yesterday, but I mean, what a wild card they've been.
Yeah. Do you know where you're sitting tomorrow?
No, I don't know what section I'm in. I'd like to be in C or D, and we'll have a go.
Okay. And the venue, going back to today's section, you're up. We had the second was from the other end of the section, so it seemed quite a fair section here.
I either wanted to draw. I needed to draw either end. This is a very good area here. I expected when I drew it to have a really good day and maybe catch 4 or 5 in the first hour, and it'd be a really good session. But even though I wasn't catching, I looked around and I couldn't see any landing nets out, so that just settled me down and thought, look, you know, you've only got to catch what you need to catch. So I hadn't got to catch 20. Just settled down, backed off, and caught a few fish.
Yeah. And that's Phil Ringer. I think you're going to see more of him in the future.
Thank you very much.
Okay. See you tomorrow, Phil.
Cheers. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to what is turning out to be a very damp Ghent. It's only actually started raining in the last hour. Most of the day has been quite fine. That is, unless you are England. Unfortunately, England seems to have the wheels slightly come off. I would say slightly. They have actually scored 32 points today. They are in 5th place, but they are tying with Austria, who's on 6th place, with the same points, but obviously a lower weight. The Ukraine has won the day with 23 points. Hungary are second with 25. Netherlands are 26, and Belgium are 30. Although England, it may seem that it's slightly out, 32 points is not a million miles away from a podium position, whichever way you look at it. Tomorrow is going to be quite crucial. What was apparent today was a certain element of feeding, which I don't know if you saw, Jamie, the feeding between the English and the Dutch was somewhat different. The Dutch tended to put a bit more bait in than England.
Yeah, the section I was kind of keeping my eyes on were, unfortunately, the English and the Dutch anglers were quite a few pegs apart, so it wasn't quite easy to compare the two. I spent the early part of the session behind Darren Cox, who was the England lad in E section, so I could keep my eye on how he fed. But obviously, I know further down in the other sections, you saw England anglers beside Dutch anglers, and you know what kind of comparisons were there? I mean, I only heard that there were differences.
I was looking at D section, and fortunately, I had Peter van der Willik next door to Dean Barlow, and it was apparent from the start that Peter van der Willik was actually putting in more feed than Dean.
Right, okay.
Now, whether or not this had any ultimate effect remains to be seen. Dean did make the comment to me afterwards that he did catch early, which tends to be a signal that if you catch early with the bream, you don't catch late. Yeah. Peters he didn't catch early, but he did catch late, to the tune of, I think you've got the results there, what was his results, 13 odd kilo or something?
13 kilo, 751 grams.
And Dean has ended up with...
I don't know where we are on here. Dean Ball, Dean, 3 points with 6 kilo 200.
6 kilo 200. So it may say
something about the amount of feed which has gone in. We obviously can't comment on Ukraine, who have obviously fished quite a very good match. I suspect this wasn't just for bream, because we did see a lot of the Eastern European countries actually fishing what amounted to the pole line with the feeder, and possibly maggot or bloodworm.
That's right.
And they were taking lots and lots of these small roach. So they've obviously kept these lines going and kept fish coming in, and in certain respects kept the points coming.
Yeah, it's made a big difference in some sections. I mean, the guy 10th place overall today, the 10th overall weight, who actually weighed in 4 kilos.
He's actually had 95 fish.
He's had 95 fish.
95 fish.
In comparison, the top weight today was the German angler, Kurt Creek. Creek, is it?
Creek, yep.
He's only had 15 fish, obviously better stamp fish. So yeah, the Ukrainian...
From peg one.
From peg
the
one.
First peg on the section.
So yeah, the Ukrainians literally had 95 fish, all obviously on feeder tactics today.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
maybe there's something there
you have
really
to
to
remember,
watch
this
tomorrow.
is on the feeder, this is not on a pole, so it's slightly different. The venue itself seems to have fished very patchy. You know, there's been pockets of fish, and whether or not they've actually come in on the feed late, or whether they've been there when they've actually put the feed in, remains to be seen. It's not fished up to standard. I feel it's not fished up to standard.
No.
Now, whether or not England can recoup this tomorrow, because you've got to remember the teams that are in front of them, there are no mugs here. You're looking at Belgium, the Netherlands and Hungary. And they are actually within my 4 teams for a podium finish, including England. Whether or not Ukraine maintain their position remains to be seen. But they've done the business today with a second, a sixth and a 7th in section. That's not a bad return.
No, I mean the Ukraine. Obviously, we've just talked about them. That they've caught a lot of small fish, or some of their anglers have. As we've just said, it's raining now. Who knows what's going to come overnight? We may get more rain, and if that's the case, that might put a bit of, might put some of the bigger fish off tomorrow, which means a small fish attack could obviously be even more valuable tomorrow.
Yeah,
we're going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's really difficult to know. We just don't know what's going to go on. Tomorrow, obviously, will be quite crucial for England, as well as Hungary, Netherlands and Belgium. Ukraine are obviously on a high. All we can do is wish all those teams the best of luck. Hopefully the draw will be kind to them, and when we speak again tomorrow evening, we will actually see the first, second, and we will know who's first, second and third.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how tactics and initial approaches are going to change.
Yeah, how England are going to
from today.
With the extra pressure of being down
with this kind of event, the first 10-15 minutes you get a feel for how they're going to approach the match, and we should know very early tomorrow whether there have been any changes.
I'm with Darren Cox from Preston's Innovation Feeder Team England. Darren, yesterday, Saturday, the first day of competition, it was a little bit of a fraught ending.
Bit of a roller coaster.
A roller coaster ride, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Do you want to just run us through what actually happened? Give us a rundown over the last couple of minutes, because that's basically what was involved, wasn't it?
I mean, I needed a bream. I was desperate for a bream, and I fished obviously for a bream for the last 2.5 hours, just slowing things down and waiting and being patient. And 2 pegs to my left, I saw the guy bent into a bream with about 4 minutes to go. Then Tony Kersley, the Irish guy, immediately to my left, with 2 minutes to go, bent into a bream. I saw him start winching, and the guys were panicking. How long have I got? How long have I got? And then I'm looking at my tip, staring at my tip, willing it to go, and it just went and dropped back. I picked up. I've lifted into a bream, and there was about 40 seconds to go.
You've been counted down by.
Well, there's the lads behind me. I checked my watch, and obviously I got the bream moving, and I've literally got it moving. I'm thinking, yeah, I can get this. Looked at my watch, and as I've got it moving, pointed right, it was 32 seconds to go, and I've skied it in, skied it in. Got it to the net, gone for the net like that, and as I've gone to the net, the hooter's gone.
Oh,
But
because
it's
of course the ruling is
it has
to be clear of the water.
Yeah, in the net, clear of the water, or complete out the water.
And this is one of the downsides for fishing continental matches. People in the UK don't know and realise this. You know, we have 15-20 minutes to land a fish after the whistle in England.
Yeah, we do.
But in FIPS matches, it has to be clear on the sound, and you get a 5-minute warning of the end of the match.
Get a 5-minute warning, so you count yourself down, and you know, it's just a case of just praying that tip goes round 2 minutes before.
Which it did, but it should have been a couple of minutes earlier. You'd have been laughing.
Well,
wouldn't you?
10 seconds earlier, Dave.
10 seconds
10
earlier,
seconds,
yeah.
I know it sounds daft, but it would have got us another 4 or 5 points.
Yeah, I think about 4 points. How big do you reckon it was?
I don't know, but the
I think
the
we
bream up
worked
that
out,
end were well over a kilo, between a kilo and a kilo and a
Yeah,
half.
I think we worked out about 4 points, what it would have done. So, and it's
comfortably 4 points.
This is the margin of error you have working to, isn't it? Really,
when you're 9 points behind on the first day, 5 points behind on the first day as opposed to 9 points, then there's a big difference.
But it's the same rule for everybody, so it could well happen to others today. So
well, it could. Phil yesterday had a bream disallowed after the match. Thankfully, it didn't cost him or the team anything. He did a great job winning section. But you know, it's a fine line.
Yeah, it is. Today, Sunday, it's quite overcast, and there's the threat of showers or thunderstorms. When we've had that all week, really.
Well, I mean, in England, you'd say it's perfect bream day, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would actually. High cloud.
These bream are different over here. You know, we found in practice that they prefer flat, calm, and sunshine.
Yeah, and England's chances today. I heard the Dutch have got a very good draw.
Yeah, the Dutch have got a good draw, and I think it'll be difficult to beat them from the draw they have. But we've also got a good draw. We've got some really good numbers today. You know, we've got some numbers where I think everybody can catch 4 bream. Yeah. If we all catch 6 bream, we'll win. Yeah. You know, I think.
But there again, if the Dutch catch 6 bream, they win.
Yeah. But there's some good battles as well today. Mick Vals has got a Dutchman and a Belgian either side, so
that will be an interesting battle.
That's a good battle. And Mick's been on fire this week. He's done really well in practice, and you know, so if anyone can beat him, he can.
Yeah. So our chances are sort of
good. Good for a medal.
Good to fair.
Good for a medal. Yeah. It's a big hurdle for a gold, but it's not unsurmountable. You know, we on World Championships with this many teams, you'd expect 45 points to win. Yeah. We've got 32 points, so we need a big day. Yeah. We need a 15 pointers today. If we can get 15 points today, I think we can win.
Well, all we can say is you know, good luck to you and the boys, and hopefully everything we'll end up on the podium.
Brilliant, thanks for your support.
Yeah, that's okay, mate. It's always a pleasure. Anyway, thanks very much, everybody. Any minute now. There we go. Mick fishing the short line. And he's gone right across the far side again. It's where they fed yesterday. The rain's starting to become a little bit more intense, which is not good for the camera. Fortunately, our three die-hard anglers are not putting up brollies. There's the signal. It's gone off there. We're going over to Dirk. And I know the Belgian has gone out on that line, so they've all gone out into the middle first. That's where they're starting off. Start. We'll rejoin this later after several minutes. They're mixing there straight away. In fact, we won't rejoin it, we'll keep with it. Yep. Just for the cameras. Nice one. Hey. So that's just panning me.
Well done, mate. Well done, lad. Well done. That's a cracker, isn't it, for a start?
Another 20 then.
Rain's coming down a little harder now. Yeah. Looks like a little fish. But it's a fish. A second fish. These are not easy conditions at all for the camera. Hopefully we can stay with this a little bit longer until that tip moves again. There we go. You saw it first. Right, I'm just testing to see if it's coming in. Oh, we've got the Belgian as well in the fish, as well. Belgian's first fish. And Mick's second fish. The Dutch, there's the Dutch runner checking on what Mick's doing. Probably not a lot of difference between Mick and Dirk, to be honest. Only a small one. There it goes in the net.
Das ist der Ungar. Er hat nach 2 Stunden insgesamt 16 Fische, aber keinen großen Fisch, keinen Brassen. Und selbst in der 3. Stunde fischt er immer noch auf Kleinfisch. Er hat noch nicht umgestellt wie die meisten anderen.
akarlak idegesíteni. Egy. Tudom, nem baj. Nem hiszem el, az. Lehet, hogy 20 percet kéne bele.
They've gone overtime.
Yeah, 5:07.
Here it comes. News has just come through. Holland have won this World Championship. First of all, congratulations, Henk. I'm joined by Henk, who fished the A section today. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
What weights did you have from here today?
6 kilos 400.
Giving you second place. And the rest of the team, do you know how many points?
Another two guys, also 2 points, and 10 points and 11 points. So totally 27 today.
Everybody at the start of this championship thought it would be a two-horse race, Holland against England. It looks like Holland's tactics have pulled through. Can you tell us more about the tactics now that the championships is over?
The tactics was to start feeding in the beginning with a lot of worms in the ground bait, and to half water to clean up the feeder.
Yeah.
So not on the bottom, but halfway in the water.
The ground bait would open up in the middle of the water?
Yes.
Okay.
Because the bottom is very soft. I was in there for 4-5 times to see what kind of bottom it was. It was just like porridge. It was nothing.
Yeah.
When you throw a lead from 10 grams, it's go below.
How far would it sink? Or you can't really tell.
No, this was about 20-30 centimeters.
Yeah.
It was very soft,
Very
soft, but very thin. So when you throw in the feeder, normally there's some wheat in it,
Yeah.
but there was nothing in it because it was too thin.
Too thin.
Nothing stays in.
And how important was the bait in the ground bait?
We thought very important, beginning with a lot of shopworms, and then after that the rest of every throw in with the feeder full of bloodworm and joker.
Yeah.
And at the end, it is now for the third time for 2 days in a row, we catch the most fish at the end, the last 2-3 hours. But it's very hard when you're fishing in the beginning.
Yeah.
You didn't get a bite, and the neighbors catching fish, and you gone. Then we have a tactic to go back from the spot to the close in the water for small fish.
Yeah.
So when you have 2 or 3 people with 3 or 4 breams, the small fish can make a difference. That helps us a lot of points.
Yeah. So small fish were part. How many small fish did you have today? About?
I think 20-25.
And what weight?
Nearly a kilo.
So
that's one bream.
One bream,
Yeah.
which is a very bonus fish.
And you don't lose time, because at the moment that you didn't get a bite, you have to rest to give the place quiet,
Yeah.
and leave it with a lot of feeding.
That the bream
And then
come back.
That the bream come back. And when you catch a bream, because of the bottom, a lot of dirt coming up,
Yeah.
so it has to calm down. So you have to give it some time.
Yeah.
Hardly you catch not 2 fish in a row. One, wait a second, much seconds,
Yeah.
maybe 10-20 minutes, and you catch the other one.
Yeah.
It is, you have to 5 minutes, 25 minutes for time, I catch my 5th bream. Normally, you say, we go back to the same spot, try to catch the 6th one, but I come back
So
in the short line,
patience.
and then come back 10 minutes before time to catch the last fish.
We see yesterday that the Dutch were pulling out bream in the last hour, which was very important.
Yeah.
And this was the tactic that worked for you then?
Yeah, this was the tactic.
Yeah.
And the small fish were very important.
And the small fish were important.
Give it the spot in the middle where the breams are feeding,
Yeah.
some rest, so they can calm down after you catch one of the fish.
Okay.
That was our tactic, and yeah, it works. But we were also lucky that we live nearby in Holland, so we have plenty of time and plenty of training after practice.
Yeah.
We've been here, I think, for when there was ice on the canal in February. The first week it was open, we were here.
Yeah.
And after then, nearly every weekend. So we've been a lot of times we've been here fishing.
Going back to April, there was this friendly here.
Yeah.
Not taking it serious back then?
Yeah, but yes, sure.
Yeah.
But I have to be honest, we learn a lot from the English. The feeding, the kind of ground bait, fish meal.
Yeah.
We started with another ground bait in April. The results were not that bad, but on the hardest spots we get too much points, and that had to change for this match.
Yeah.
We had I have one in the section and other 5 guys from our team also a section winner, but the hardest spots we get too much points. Yeah. So that's why we had to change a bit, and it has to. I think the reason was that's going better now. The kind of feeding, the manner of feeding.
So you said you learned a lot from the English, and you obviously adapted your methods to the. And what mistakes? Or say mistakes. Where would you say England's? Why are England not at the top?
I think was very unlucky yesterday. With Darren Cox, he didn't get a bream, but 45 seconds before time, he hooked the bream, but he had only 45 seconds to get it in, so he had the forced, and he lost him.
Yeah.
It was very unlucky for them. That cost them, I think, 6 points. So, and at the end, it can be important.
Okay.
And today we had a very good draw. Yesterday the draw was not so good. Today we were very happy with the draw, but Leo, our teammate, was in B1, so we were sure he gets a good result over there, but it was very hard over there, but he managed to get a 10, so it was very good.
Yeah. Good. So it's raining here, your guys are waiting for you obviously down there, the champagne bottles are cooled, and enjoy the rest of the day. You've deserved it.
Happily we stayed this night in Belgium in the hotel, so it's going to be late.
And I've got to go home. Okay.
Unlucky you.
Congratulations again.
Thank you, thank you.
Let's go down and see the rest of the team.
Yes, thank you.
Langlotte! England!
Go on, guys.
And Dick, are you sure that the podium will stay?
Thank you very much.
The world champion, the champion du monde, the feeder fishing. We know them very well. 53 points. The Netherlands! Les médailles sont données par le président du FIPS, Claudio Mattioli. Please your attention for the national hymn of the Netherlands. Please wait.
Tommy Pickering, bronze medalist, Ghent 2012.
Yeah.
Tom, not a bad result considering it's been a hard week.
I'll tell you something, mate, it's been a fantastic week. We've lads have done, I can't explain how good the lads have been, and we've just had one unlucky moment in all the week really, and it's cost us probably a gold medal, but you know, if you looked at that fish,
six fishing.
yeah,
that's fishing.
But lads have been brilliant. We've got a bronze. Half an hour from end we didn't think we got a medal, so we're really down, and obviously we got a bronze. So what I'm pleased about is that the lads have moved forward, they've come on a lot more, and they now understand what World Champs is about, and it's only a matter of time before we start winning gold medal, and I'm quite chuffed about getting
it's only the second World Feeder Champs.
Exactly.
You've got plenty of time in front of you. Tactical wise, what do you think? Are you happy with that? Were you happy with that, or would you go back and do something else?
I would not change one thing. We knew about the roach line, but they weren't everywhere. I mean, like I've got out to, I've caught 6 pounder roach today. Yeah. But the bream line were really important because it was straight down the middle. We couldn't catch anywhere else. And what you had to do was just wait, get the moment. We're hoping to get early fish. Some of us didn't, but the second hour were really important because that's when you caught them generally, and the last hour. Yeah. In between you had to rest your peg and then come off it and cast back out, and sometimes the best time to catch one was the first cast after changing. Yeah. But we thought that we could get 10 catches, and we didn't. We got 8, and if we'd have got 9 we might have done it, so but that's how it goes. I'm proud of lads. I think they've done really well, and 8 points is nothing. You can get it in lots and lots of ways, but you'll say that next year and year after and year after with different teams. Hopefully one year we'll get our break.
Yeah, it was one of those matches where one bream here, one bream there, and it was all change.
Dutch have had a bream 2 kilos 300 today, and they had 1 fish, and you're like, that's got him like 10 points. And yesterday they got 1 bream 10 points. But so probably we have somewhere. But that's match fishing,
I mean, to coin a phrase from your opposite number on the seniors, there's been 19 teams who would have loved to have been in your position.
Well, I'm sure. I'll tell you what is encouraging is the amount of teams that have actually copied our style. And they've videoed all the lads that go home, they study it, and some of the countries have come on since last year. Whoa, wow! It's going to be one hell of a competition.
That's what they do in the seniors. There's always a crowd behind England. You're going to get used to that, I'm afraid.
No, I've been used to it for 40 years.
Well, because you go way back, don't you?
I'm used to it, but the lads are getting used to it now. It's been brilliant, fantastic experience. Loved every minute on it. We've got a bronze medal, so we're sort of 70% happy, but hopefully one day it'll come, But lads have been awesome. I can't ask one more of them.
South Africa next year?
Well, that is the one I wanted, South Africa. For me personally, that's my, that's the one I want so much.
Yeah,
I really want.
That should be a real fish fest gathered by.
It might not be.
I understand.
Well, it might not be, but it's just.
I've been to the South Africans are saying.
Well, they will be, but I've been to South Africa.
Yeah, I know.
And the experience of South Africa should want people to go. It's fantastic. I can't wait. I mean, I'm counting.
Counting the days.
We'll have a drink tonight, and then tomorrow we'll start planning for South Africa.
I'm joined by 2 very wet Hungarians who've just been for a swim, and we have the captain of the Hungarian team, Tamas Walter, and the new world champion, Attila Erdei. Erdei, I got it right. I'd like to ask Attila first, via Tamas, because Attila does not speak very good English, and I don't speak very good Hungarian. The usual question is, what does this mean to him? But after Saturday, what was his feeling going into the second day with a possible chance of a medal, a podium?
2 kérdés először. Mit éreztél, vagy mit érzel most ebben a szituációban? Mit jelent inkább neked ez a dolog? Másrészt mit éreztél tegnap este, mikor úgy látod, hogy esélyed van erre?
Ma már hoztam magammal látóruhát. És a dobogó teteje, meg a világ teteje.
He feels himself on the top of the podium and on the top of the world after 30 years working on it. And but about yesterday night, he brought 2 full sessions of clothing with him. So he was thinking about it. Team or individual, we have to do
ahead.
it.
Good thinking. Tamas, I'd like to ask you the tactics of the Hungarian team. What sort of, was it the tactics that helped you? Was it the draw? Was it luck? What was it?
I tell you what, we did a bit different than Holland or England. Okay, we finished second. Holland beat us with their technique, but we had a different one. Technique not for the venue, but technique for the sections. Because the sections has been so different, the sectors has been so different, that we had an A and a B plan everywhere. And in A, B, C sections, both days, we could use only the B plan, which was the short line, perch and roach, very aggressive feeding, concentrate on that and protect the points. D and E was the bream fishing. And as it started, it looked quite okay, and unfortunately or fortunately the catch dropped during the week, so it moved more and more to the small fish, and this gave us a medal.
So now we have a Hungarian world champion for the second feeder world champions. Are you actually going to South Africa? Will you be in South Africa?
It's still difficult to say because we've been there 2 years ago with the ladies, and it was the most horror expensive World Championship ever for our federation. So we have to find it out, but we try our best to collect enough sponsors to get there. It's not easy, believe me. That's 3 times more expensive than coming here.
Well, I mean, you've got a silver medal, team silver medal and a world champion. So hopefully your sponsors back in Hungary will be a little bit more kind with the old wonga. We call it wonga in England. I don't know what you call it in Hungary.
Doesn't matter how you call it. Do a good job.
Money.
Do a good job for us and promote us, and then we can do it.
Yeah, well, that's it. Well, I know you're absolutely both soaked, and you must be getting really, really cold.
Yeah.
So, I mean, thank you very much indeed for talking to us. For the chat, this will be the Champions Team website, and also on the video, Champions Team video. Thank you very much indeed, lads. Bye. Thank you.
Hang on, I want to cuddle on camera.
Oh, bless.
Well done. Well done.
Hey, but you didn't get wet enough.
No, I don't know. Jan van Schendel, gold medalist, world feeder champion, the second one. Jan?
Coach anyway.
No, lots to be owed to you, Jan. Jan, it's, when was the last time Holland won gold? Quite a while ago, wasn't it?
1982.
1982. This year you're going to remember quite a lot, I warrant.
Obviously. It's been
a long time coming.
Yes, it's been a long time coming. I've experienced many years myself as an angler in different teams, and there have been many years also without me, always with the same result, no wins, and many times bad results. And it's had a long history of that, and about 6 years ago we got the possibility with a couple of people, because I want to make sure it's not my work, it's our work, it's a team of people behind this, and we've gone a different direction. And yes, this is the feeder fishing, but this direction was all different kinds of fishing in the different categories as well. And well, this is the first, let's say, major result from this work, I think.
Yeah, and well deserved, because I mean, I've seen you and interviewed you on many occasions, and you've always been willing to give an interview, but you've never had you've never had a medal to sort of, we've never been in this position for a sort of, you know, I think Czech Republic was the last time I think you were on the podium, wasn't it?
Yeah, we've had a third in Czech
Republic. It's now trying to tip down actually now as well. So.
We've had a bronze medal in the European Championships in Czech Republic. We had a bronze medal in Merida 2 years ago.
Merida,
in the float fishing department. There was a bronze medal for the feeder guys last year when all the World Championships were at the same time. I was with the float fishing at the time, and now this, obviously brilliant.
Yeah. Well, a gold medal is a gold medal in anybody's language.
Yes,
and
obviously.
This could well be the catalyst which gets you on the road to more gold medals. Because that's, I know, what is your dream, is to come back next year and in the World Float Seniors.
In any department, I remember times that were really, really bad, and with all my respect for everybody, but I can remember some horrible championships as an angler, and that's the reason I couldn't cope with it any longer. I honestly thought that in Holland we have some good anglers as well, but the first thing is you have to get them all together in the right teams, and
you seem to have done that quite successfully.
It's gone all right this time. It's not going perfect every time. I mean, we were talking a couple of weeks ago in Spain when it all went wrong, and even today I thought at one time it was heading the same direction, and
you pessimist.
I'm realistic. Anyway, it all changed, and well, when you look back at the result and the way we got it, it's been a fantastic weekend.
Tactically, it's quite important, because I think there was some mention of the practice session. When was it? Sort of April. There was a large match in April.
Yes.
I think you kept quite a bit undercover, didn't you? You kept a certain element undercover of your strategy. No.
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you.
That's what we want for the cameras.
I'll be honest with you. The English, with all my respect for them, because they're after all the best anglers in the world, we all know that. But feeder fishing, we've got quite a history as well.
Oh, definitely.
And I was very surprised in April. I know this water for 25 years plus, and the English really showed us.
Yeah.
And well, our team wasn't doing that bad, but we couldn't live with them, especially on the first.
So we're getting a little bit drenched here, so we try to cover the
cameras. Not a problem
up.
for me anyway, but
yeah.
Fact is that since then we've been here quite a few times, tried to adjust a bit towards the methods that we thought the English were using actually, and it's how it's worked out a little bit.
Yeah. What was the thinking behind? Because you were one of the few teams to literally go and fish about 15 metres off the far bank. Saw several of your anglers actually feeding that line, especially Peter van der Willik on the first day.
It's our second nature to fish the far bank of all waters that we fish when we can reach them.
Yeah.
And you'll see that many times fishing on the far bank in feeder fishing that's where the fish are, and it would seem logical that it's the same on this water. There's only one problem: you have to use too much weight for the feeder and the feed to be visible for the fish, because I know when there is a float competition, the far bank, which is then one of the banks pegged, there's as many fish or more being caught than on this side.
That's right.
So the only reason can be that the fish can't find the food, and this is the big secret, I think, of this championship. So we used very light feeders. Very often we emptied feeders midway or just underneath the surface, just for something to fall on the extremely soft soil. And that's how simple it was.
I had noticed. And also your feeding pattern tended to be a little bit heavy, especially against England. They tended to feed a bit more than England did.
Again, I think it's our second nature, and we felt it wasn't a problem to feed a lot, because a lot of what you fed would go amiss anyway, because you cannot believe the bottom of this water, how soft it is.
Really?
Yeah, we tested it, and believe me, it is
that
extreme.
Why you had quite a distance between the feeders, the
Not
paternoster?
that so much, but what was vital was that the food stayed on top of the soil, rather than that you have the best food in the world, but it's all gone in the mud.
Very.
So we tried not to bury anything, and I think that wasn't so far off from what some other teams did, like the English.
Yeah, I think so. There was, would you say that your major bait, your major catch bait was multiple bloodworm, or was it worms and chopworms in the actual feeder?
A mix of these two baits, I would say.
Right, just a mixture.
Today we fed more bloodworm than yesterday, and a bit less worm. I expected the fishing to be harder actually, so I was very surprised when very early in the competition quite a few bream were caught. Not by us, so many. And
Mick Viles caught one within 2 minutes.
Yeah, and in many places like this. So I was quite surprised. I expected a tough day, which it was in the end, but the start was very good actually, surprisingly good. It's amazing sometimes, this fishing.
Yeah. Well, Jan, it's great to actually interview you for once, carrying a dirty great big and holding up a big gong, a gold medal. It really is a pleasure to do this, as opposed to, you also run and you're always putting on a brave face. But this time you've really got a smile on your face, and a well-deserved one. Yeah,
Thank you for
hopefully you're going to get some more. Okay,
we'll do our best for that.
Jan van Schendel, Jan the man.